Good morning. This is Cami. I'm live with you. I wanted to talk today about de-escalating drama on social media. I have been seeing a lot of drama over the last couple of years. And that now, right now, especially, we have a lot of things going on online that are very tense, to say the least. So I thought it might be good for us to get together and start talking about that, just talk about how to de escalate that. And fortunately or unfortunately, I have been through a ton of online stressors and situations that have given me some insight in on how to kind of de-escalate things whenever they're getting a little hot and heavy online. And so, first, let's just start with the elephant in the room, and that is that a lot is going on in our world right now. We have the coronavirus, which is not really super high in the news right now. Um, we have protesting. We have political just fights and issues. And I don't know that we've ever been more polarized as a nation, in America here anyway, where I am. I don't know in the world as well how it is, but I know that right now there's a lot of stress and a lot of emotional situations going on in the world. And so here's the thing. The people that can become the peacemakers of the world are the ones that are going to be able to make a change or make something happen that's different. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. And I came up with a little list of things just based on some of the things I've been through. And I have been through a lot of online scuffles and things that have happened with both the brands that I work for and also personally. And so I just have learned a lot about like just de-escalating situations. And I found that the more that you can be rational and have conversations, the more change that can be made, the more positive change that can be made. And what I don't want to see right now is like so many more people that are coming to such an impasse that they can't get out of that impasse. So let me just start with my 6 things that I wrote down here that I think we can talk through. And I would love to know if you're here. I see a couple of eyeballs coming in. But if you could, just say, hey, what your name is and where you're from, I'd like to have a little bit of a conversation here. We're going to have a safe space just to have this conversation. So first is to listen. Listen first. So if you are in a situation where you're getting a little heated, you're a little stressed out, maybe angry. If you're like me, you're walking around your house ranting about something that happened. The first thing that you need to do is listen. And what I mean by that is, I have long gone to the other side, the opposite side of what I actually believe or think, and listen to what they have to say. Or people that, are not completely connected with me. So I'll go and listen to the other side of the story just to kind of see where they're coming from. Even if I totally disagree, I will always take that time to listen. And it might heat you up some more. So the second one is like the first one, which is what I call, and I've talked about this for a long time, respond, don't react. So I think that the problem is that we get emotional about something and we get very heated under the collar and stressed out about something. And then of course, it just comes out of us. We want it just comes out of us. And a lot of times because we have this live stream and we have all of these things, we will turn on a camera or we'll just come onto social media and we'll just emote. And I think that there's a place for that. Don't tell me that I'm not saying that you can't be emotional, because there's more than one way to do things, right? There's more than one way to do stuff. But the bottom line is that I think that emotionalism causes us sometimes to go forth before we have all the facts or that we have everything we need to get there. So I always talk at respond, don't react. And it can be a very forceful response, but this response has to be a response, not a reaction. And if you're doing something that's a reaction online, stop, call a friend, take a deep breath, call in a lifeline, just talk it through with someone else that you trust before you go live. It's just like the letter writing thing that we used to talk about for email. Like if you're about to send off an angry email, write it all out, but do not send. In fact, don't even put their name in in the box in case you accidentally hit send. Just sit on it, sleep on it. What's going on right now in the world, there's so many things that are unjust I'll be with you. I'm like right there with you. I feel like there's a lot of things that are unjust right now. And so we need to like breathe, breathe and wait and think before we do what we are thinking of doing. Okay. So there's a lot of pressure also to have a response, I think. And from a business point of view, I'm going to go back to businesses because a lot of businesses have had to respond and need to respond to what's going on right now. Um, I shared a response on Tuesday this week from one of my clients that was just it was a beautiful response. It was a letter to his employees about his care for them and why he loved them and where he was coming from and where they were coming from as an organization on equality and all of that. So I just feel like, those responses are that's a response. That's not a reaction. That's not a reaction. That's, pulling people together. Yeah, Shay, exactly. That's my brother. Hi. Yeah, actually, slow to speak, slow to anger. Absolutely. And that's, in our world, a scriptural thing. So I just feel like that is so important right now. Also, number 3, admit that you don't have all the answers. Right? Hi, Walter. How are you doing? Admit that you don't have all the answers would be number 3. So number 1, listen. Number 2, respond, don't react. And that happens. And by the way, going back to respond, don't react. That's also really good for when you're having a social media emergency, like somebody's attacking your brand. I've worked for many brands that have been attacked in a pretty big way, and that's really, really important that you have that response, not reaction. Admit you don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. I was on a call the other day with my speaking coach, and he was talking to us about how to lower the temperature in a room. And I love what he said because he said, and I wrote it down here so I could tell you. He said, "There's 2 things that you can say. You can say there's more than one right way to do this. There's more than one right way to do almost anything." So there's that, number 1. And number 2, really, there's a lot that I don't know. Just saying that. There's a lot that I don't know. Here's how I'm looking at it. There's a lot that I really don't know. Like, for example, I'll never be a Black person. I'm white. I don't have that experience. I mean, I empathize with that experience. I love my Black brethren and friends. I have a Black godchild. I have a Black child in Africa, who is somebody that I've been supporting for years. Mugisha, if you're listening, and I love them very much. And so, but I'm not Black, and I never will be. So I don't understand that experience. So I think, coming out and saying, there's a lot I don't know. I thought that was very wise. It's a really good way to start a conversation by saying, hey, there's a lot that I don't know. This is what I'm thinking, but maybe I don't really understand, right? So I think that that's really important too. So there's a lot more that I don't know. And then there's more than one right way to do this, but here's my thoughts on this. So that brings me to the next one is just sharing productively. So then you can share your point of view. So once you've listened, you've put together a response rather than a reaction, you've admitted that you don't have all the answers, and now you've earned the right to share productively, to have a productive way of sharing with somebody else. You've earned that right at that point because you've listened, you've educated yourself, you've come up with what you want to say, you've talked to somebody and said, I don't really understand. I admit that I may not know all the answers. And now you can productively respond to somebody. You can productively talk to them. So that's when you start with that. And then, of course, you're going to have to listen to what they have to say back to you during this so a productive conversation is a two-way conversation, right? So you say something, they say something, you say something, you've got to have that productive conversation. It's not like you say something and you wait until they're finished talking so that you can say the next thing that you want to say. That's just communication 101, is that two-way communication. And how do you get there? Like, how do you let that sink in, what they're saying to you? So you're gonna have to really open your mind to that. And once you've done that, then you can actually hear if you've harmed them, or if they have like a grievance against you, what that grievance actually is. And then if it's proper, you can apologize. An apology doesn't mean that you're weak and that you don't know what you're doing. An apology means that you understand the other person's point of view, and you see that you've harmed them or hurt them in some way, and you apologize. So let me just give you an example. A couple of days ago, over the weekend, I did finally post around my experience as a white person, just not understanding what to say to my black friends. And I tagged a few people that are my black friends, and some of them, or at least one specifically, came to me and said, "You are like one of only two of my white friends that have said anything to me during this time." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I recognize that the reason is because probably we're afraid. Like, white people are afraid to say anything right now, because if you do, it's probably not going to be right. It's not in the experience that our black friends and brethren are having. It's it seems, what is the right word? It seems lacking. It seems like it's not enough. And so we started talking about that, and she called me, and she even brought to mind to me one thing that happened years ago, and I didn't do anything specifically, like it wasn't something specifically racist or anything, but it was something I said to another friend who said something that kind of hurt her feelings, and it was around this issue. And I was like, "Oh," and didn't know. I didn't know. And I apologized to her. I said, and in my own mind, I know that's not what I meant. That's not, but I didn't say any of those things. I said, "You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I wish you would have talked to me then." And so opening that conversation is so important right now. It's so, so important. And that was awesome, because that really like healed our relationship, which was already really fine. She'd already forgiven me for it. She didn't hold it against me ever, but we had this conversation. It was great. And then another friend of mine reached out to me and asked me if I would use my platform and my visibility to like help with the current issue around Black Lives Matter and all of that. And I was like, "Well, how can I do that? Because I'm just, one person, and not to mention, again, did I say I was white?" Yeah, I did. I say that. I said that back in the back. And I'm like, "I don't know how I can help." And she says, "Well, just talking about it." So we started speaking about that this week, and we're going to start a private group called Joining Voices. And it's just going to be a place where we can come learn together. We can ask the questions that are stupid and that would be scary to ask on open social media. So if any of you are interested in that, let me know, DM me, or just let me know, and I'll make sure you know when we start. But we're going to probably start June 18th in the evening. So yeah, use the platforms. Yeah, exactly. And so June 18th, we're going to start meeting. That'll be, I think, 7 my time. No, yeah, 7 my time, 7, which is Central Time. That's where I'm at. And then we're just going to meet, and we're going to have conversations around this. If you're somebody who's white and really wants to like understand this better, and this would be great for you. If you're somebody who is of color, like a person of color, wants to be an ally too, whatever color, you might want to come here too. Because if you were saying, "Hey, I'd like to help other people understand," that'd be great. So let me know. We've got a group of people already highly interested in this. So I'd love to have anybody who's interested join us. But that's really the thing. These are my 6 things. And then that is the 6th thing, is that once you understand and you've listened and you've had these conversations and you've apologized and you've done all the things that I've just said, then you can do something of value to help, because now you've prepared the way to do something of value. You've prepared the path. You've earned the right to do something of value at that point. So I think, I'd love to hear from you guys about what you're doing right now and how you feel about the current environment. But I think it's only going to get more heated, guys, because we've got a campaign coming up. So all this political stuff is happening. Coronavirus hasn't gone away. It may not be in the headlines at the top of the headlines right now. There's a lot of things that I'm not super thrilled about what's happening right now. And you may disagree with me on some of that, but I just, we're all having these disagreements. And so how are we going to hear each other? How are we going to actually come together instead of like fighting and like devolving into civil war in America. How are we going to do that? It starts with you. It starts with you, and it starts with me. It starts with you, and it starts with me, and we have to do it together. If we don't do it together, then it's hopeless, you know? So, yeah, I mean, we may not agree on certain things. We may be of different political persuasions. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter. My point is that if we do not come together, this can devolve into something very ugly. So, I'm hoping we can change that. I'm hoping we can change that together. I really do. Yeah. Walter, that's right. Communication, respect. Absolutely communication, respect. That's what we have here. So I love it. I know there's a bunch of you in here. If you don't feel comfortable commenting, that's fine. But I'd love to know who you are, and I'd love for you to connect with me. And again, all you have to do is just send me a private message. I'm very open to these conversations. So I just wanted to come in and say, let's lower the temperature. So let me go over the 6 things real quick, one more time. 1, listen first. 2, respond, don't react. 3, admit that you don't have all the answers. 4, share productively. That means not waiting for the other person to stop talking so you can talk. Two-way conversation. Apologize if necessary. So if you've hurt somebody's feelings. 6, do something of value. Do something to make a change. You can do that. You have the power. We all do. We all have the power. In fact, it's going to take all of us, I think. So anyway, I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad, Shay, that you dropped by too. My brother is awesome. He has a great podcast, the Pantry Podcast. Ooh. Anyway, I really appreciate all of you, and thank you so much for being here. Let me know what you think about this, and I would love to hear any feedback. It would be awesome. Yeah, it is time to have it is totally time to have the uncomfortable conversations. I'm going to just say that. Absolutely. And I don't know what you mean by the premise is the person you're talking with is flawed, Kevin, but I would say that the premise is that I'm flawed. That's the premise. The premise when I talk to people is that I am flawed and I don't know everything. That's the premise that we have to come from, I think. Thanks, Tori. Hey, Tori. Hi. How are you? Thanks, Walter. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's not my wisdom, it's God's wisdom. But yeah, I would just say that, I've been thinking about this a lot, praying about this a lot lately. So I just feel like, right now we need to change. We need to change the way we're doing things. The premise is the person you are talking with want to change. Yeah, I don't quite get that yet, but yeah, okay. Maybe. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that when I go into a conversation with someone who I have a difference of opinion with, um, I need to, I only can speak for myself. When I go into those conversations, I need to um, understand that I am seeing it through my own flawed eyes and that probably I'm missing something. So yeah. I mean, I don't, we may be saying the same thing. I don't know. But yeah, that's really where I'm at with that. Oh, I see what you're saying. When you talk to people and say, this is God's plan, and anything else is false news is a non-starter. Yeah, that is absolutely a non-starter. I agree 100% on that. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a Christian and I don't believe that you should do that. That's just my opinion. So, there's a lot with that I have. I mean, who am I to even tell you what God's plan is anyway? I don't know what that is for you. So anyway, I do. I think that we've used that as a weapon as Christians, and I apologize for that because I think it's wrong. I think it's very wrong. So, so anyway, that's where I'm at with this. I just feel like we have to have these conversations. So thanks, Kevin, for saying that. Appreciate it. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's really all I wanted to say today. Is just say that I'm willing and able and in a different place, maybe even now to start a conversation. I'm not afraid of this. I feel like, we have to have this, and somebody has to start it. So, and I know there's many, many people that are in the same boat. So it needs to be started in a way that'll work. So anyway, these are the 6 things that I think that we can do to start making a change. And if you're interested in doing more with that, I'd love to talk to you. And I will. I'll do that soon. So I'll be back here next Thursday, same time, probably talking more about business tips, but which I usually do. But I really felt like I needed to talk about this. So today I felt pretty convicted by that. So anyway, have a great day, and I hope that you do something awesome today and tell me about it. Okay, great. Take care. Bye.